Now then, good people, it's your host for now, Rolla Royce Rolla, or Adam, if you want to keep it Christian. I'm here in the abandoned boiler room, and I'm going to do what the rest of the internet is doing and up on the bandwagon and try and get some views off this man's name. So, I am indeed an absolute massive pothead. The Tate brothers had a little something to say about reefer.
Weed is one of the most dangerous drugs of all because it halts your ambition. It stops you from being unhappy with your current crap situation. You play your PlayStation, you eat your pizza, you smoke your weed. That's a good day.
And, I almost agree. I've always said this. If you got 5 things you want to do in your day, you got to smoke a little bit of that tasty stuff. You'd be lucky to get 2 out of those 5 things done.
That's a bad day for me, and it's a bad day for you if you minus the weed.
Next point he made, he says,
I think weed makes people lethargic and lazy, and the number one problem with most people in the world is they're already lethargic and lazy, so why would they amplify their issue?
I'll attest to that. I feel like you start smoking for fun when you're a kid, and then eventually it creeps in, it becomes this habit that you're trying to maintain. So rather than smoking 10 gram on a Saturday with your mates, you'll smoke 10 gram through the week, and you'll 2 gram this day, and a couple gram that day, and a few more gram that day, whatever. You'll ration it out so you can always get to sleep. So withdrawals from quitting cannabis is actually a thing. It's not an addictive drug, but you will get withdrawals, and that's the main reason why I keep falling back on the smoke. I want a good night, peaceful night's sleep, whatever. Their argument to this was,
if you want to be tired, go to the gym. Then you'll be tired, and you'll also have a fucking fantastic body. Ta-da!
yes, that is a factor. Like, you can go out and blast yourself and have a really busy day, and you're going to sleep well regardless. I'm not 100%, even if you're really tired sometimes and you've got this addiction, I feel like you can still be woken up in the middle of the night through the withdrawals. So that is literally the most powerful reason why people keep coming back to the smoke. They want to be able to hit the head off the pillow and be lights out like a babby. What he's saying ain't wrong, but it ain't right also in that aspect. Next thing is weed is not a cure for cancer, and he says he's going to prove this in one sentence.
Bob Marley died of cancer.
I ain't going to sit there and try and deny that. You're smoking at the end of the day, you're breathing in something into your lungs. It's never going to be fucking healthy, is it? Especially, I'm sat here smoking it with tobacco. Cigars improve testosterone. I'm going to say amber leaf does too. Only real gentlemen smoke amber leaf tobacco, and that's just a fucking fact. What else did he have to say? I'm going to rewatch the video just so I don't miss any of the points. But look, you can smoke this drug, but don't be under any illusions. It's not this amazing wonder drug that's going to make you more creative. No, it does exactly the opposite. I feel like smoking a little bit of it and then stopping is probably beneficial for your brain. But before I knew anything about these two geezers, I could just listen to them talk, the mannerisms, the way they are. I could tell that they had never done any drugs. I feel like if you do a little bit of drugs, just the right magic number, this can go for stimulants, fucking meth, heroin, whatever. It can make your mind fucking creative and brilliant. Joey Diaz, prime example. Theo Von, prime example. But you can be brilliant without it. You got your Joe Rogan up there too. He claims to have never done the cocaine. I think he might have done it once or twice, but he smoked the weed. He didn't smoke it until he was a certain age though. So a thing you brought up, it says about Elon Musk.
Don't say Elon Musk to me. He doesn't advocate weed. He doesn't even say he smokes weed. He took a puff once on one podcast ever.
And he also goes on to say, well, if you're going to say that this person smokes and they're in this authoritative position, he says, well, technically, money determines whether you're in the authoritative position or not, determines whether you're successful. And he's saying, I've got more money than I'm guessing most of the people watching or smoking dope are watching, so technically his word is more valid. So you can't argue with it, and I don't think a lot of stoners do. It's and it's also another thing. I wouldn't ever sit there and say, like, to someone who doesn't smoke to recommend to start taking it. This is another thing he touched on. He says, I know that if I had it, I would want it. He's gone his entire life without touching steroids, weed, cocaine. Yeah, this is fucking powerful, man, because as soon as you know how good something is, you want that feeling again and you chase that feeling. With me, I tell myself, I smoke because I like the flavour. Yeah, I like the flavour, but then I'm also chasing that same level of high every night. Like, I want to feel so intoxicated to where I know that, I'm like a decent high, and that's not just one smoke, it's probably 3-4 joints deep and a couple of beers maybe to achieve that level. And I'm definitely stuck in the routine of chasing that high, man. It's been a while since I just decided, I'm going to have a night off or a couple of nights off. I tell you what, it's a lot different for me when I was a kid. I was like a proper advocate, a proper like stoner. I love weed. I used to just look at weed videos all day. Urban Remo, Dope as Yola, looking at different crops, looking at how to grow it. Like just plotting my own way that I'd get my own house and start growing. And it was like a business, obviously. That was my little exit strategy. That was how I was going to get my foot in the door in life. So it kind of tied in on the business aspect as well for me, so that's how I got so deeply rooted into the ganja game, man. But just as a customer, if you're just someone who's there buying weed, it's a massive, massive deficit. Like, I could easily say by the time I was 20 that I was plus money off weed, or it was in a negative. But what I didn't realise is the amount of time I was putting into running this business, and I was putting everything into it. Like, you really have got to. It's not an easy game to sell weed. You've got to source it, you've got to fucking keep in stock, you've got to keep cash to have stock. You sometimes tip people, you've got people you're looking after. There's the risk of police, the risk of robberies, the risk of fucking going to meet someone and you fucking drop your weed out your pocket. God damn, that happened a few times more than I'd care to admit. But like, the fight's kind of over for weed now. Like, everyone knows it's medically beneficial. Like, does it have some cancer curing properties? Yeah, but it's not the be all and end all. It's not this miracle fucking drug. The CBD stuff it works wonders on the skin, because I've been using that shit, dry skin on the face, and that does work a fucking treat. But the fight's over. Like, that's what used to make me so passionate about being a pothead. Like, convincing people that it's not this fucking bad drug, like all the reefer madness and all the propaganda told and that. Much better putting your time into something straightforward. If you're like a young lad thinking, I want to get a fucking weed line going, it's going to be booming, I'm going to make this much. There's very few millionaires off cannabis yet. And the people that you surround yourself with in smoking weed as well tend to be low flyers. There's a few successful people I know who smoke a little bit of weed and still get the shit done, still achieving good in life, but it's few and far between. I'd say that's less than 10% of the potheads I know that are thriving. A lot of them are broke as fuck, living week to week. They've got a big bag of smoke, but they've got nothing else going for them, And that's just part of it, Pick your lane in life. If you got a fresh fucking mountain, that you go down one path, it'll make a little rut. You go down that fucking path 10 more times, the rut will start to get deeper. Then it'll eventually get to the point where, say you want to get to a new line or something, go down here. You're that deep in this one rut that you struggle to go down new paths and find new lanes, man. So just fucking think about that shit. They say that taking mushrooms is like putting a fresh layer of snow on the mountain. So if you're in one of these ruts, people can use mushrooms to like get out of addictive habits or whatever. I'd quite like to get hypnotised to stop smoking, or hypnotised for success. See, I'm caught in a bit of a catch-22 with it or whatever. So my channel is growing quite well because I smoke weed, and I'm sort of known as a bit of a weed smoking figure. But also I do want to put the smoke down and move my life forward a lot more, like I know it would do. Because like I say, I got my problems, I got my issues that I got to deal with. By the time I've had one of these, I can't really give a fuck, and that is so true, mate. You think you're not running away from your problems because you're not bothered, but for me personally, it is a massive hindrance on my life. I don't ever want to stop smoking it. I'd like to put it down for a little bit, get the ball rolling, then come back to it and actually be able to smoke to a level where I can enjoy it, rather than smoking a gram or two a day like a fucking peasant brokey. Because rather than fucking investing your money, stacking it up and putting it into something that's going to better you in life, you're going for that easy escape every day. And like, I'm fully aware I've been doing this since I was about 20. I've been wanting to stop, but just not strong enough in the mind to get it going. Just haven't had the foundations laid out. Haven't really wanted it enough, you know. It's been a little niggling thought that I've not really acted on. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on smoking dope and going with what Andrew Tate said. Some people don't like him. I'm kind of committed to liking him now, because at Christmas, my brother was down. He kept calling me girls' names like Betty and Sue and shit. And I just stuck to him. I goes, whoa, I'm your little brother, man. I says, why can't you just call me by my name, Adam? He's kind of realised. I says, look, me and you could have been like the Tate brothers, yeah, but instead we're the Hate brothers. Definitely got a bit of that sibling rivalry. Well, we had it growing up. Obviously, it's not really about in my life now, so we ain't got no competition going on or nothing. But I reckon Prince Harry watched one of Andrew Tate's videos. I reckon he watched that exact one where Tate and Tristan are talking. And he says, I feel sorry for Jake Paul, because Logan, his older brother, his very own older brother, his blood, told him that he wouldn't be world champion and that he doesn't think he was good enough. So then he goes to Andrew and says, Andrew, recall, when you were a very mediocre kickboxer coming up and you told me that you was going to be world champion, what did I tell you? He says, you told me that I was going to be world champion. And the reaching across the table for a fist bump. And then that's just so powerful. Like, I think like that is so good for like young brothers watching that shit coming up, being 10 and you got a little 8-year-old brother. You watch this video that sums up two people they probably already know, Jake Paul and whatever, and say, look, they ain't got a good, healthy relationship. These two are people to strive towards being. Like, human traffickers or not, they got the shit down pretty sweet, and I do massively respect them. But yeah, that's just me. Obviously, some of the stuff they say is a bit outlandish, but it's a character in it, you know, and it's done to get a reaction, which it does. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to smoke the rest of my little Jeffrey. And yeah, that's just me milking the udder, the Tate udder. I need me one of them big ass cigar lighters that them boys rock. But yeah, everyone else is doing it, so I thought I'd do it from my angle, from what I can offer. Hope this was insightful for you at the very least, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts and opinions in the comment box down below. But yeah, take it easy, people. Catch you later. Gonna smoke this in the dark. Also, yeah, just to state the fact, like, look at me, I'm hanging around in a fucking abandoned boiler room smoking dope. I need to sort my priorities out. I could be in a fucking fancy hotel right now on a boat, but I'm in this room where I'm pretty sure someone took a human turd one time. But also, let me say this before I go. Just because the Tate brothers are fucking rocking it in the real world and like level 100, got the cape, all that shit, don't feel disheartened. Everyone's on their own little path. Everyone's got their own struggles, their own pain, their own tribulation, all that business. But just fucking keep on chipping away, man, and try and find your own little foothold in this world. I don't want to be mega rich. I don't want to be mega famous. I just want my own little plot of land where I can fucking have the rabbits and the alpacas, you know what I mean?